All right, we're back. You missed me? Game 2 as Post University baseball looks to make it 10 straight wins. Zion Frazier is taking the mound. Mike Vesci joining you live for game number 2. We're working on getting the cameras working. It seems like our outfield camera is a little bit jittery right now. We may not have it for most of the game. I don't know. We do have our first base camera, but yeah, I might have somebody go look at that in center field. Anyways, as we look at what we have set for game number 2, Zion Frazier's taking the mound. A pretty similar lineup if you are the Owls from Southern Connecticut State University. Frazier fires the first pitch. It's chopped on the ground. Rivera over to first. Fideli retired. 1 pitch, 1 out. And we are underway with game 2. 7 innings of fun coming up for your Post University Eagles, who took game 1 in spectacular fashion. They trailed 6-0, came back to win it 13-10, and now are looking to keep the good times rolling in game number 2. As it'll be Stobley coming to the dish. Had a pretty impressive game 1. Especially against Joe Christiana, was able to get a few runs across as I'm pulling up our stats here. We started kind of abruptly, and we're still closing out a few things from the first game of the day. We're fixing some things up with that. Quickly, 1-2 the count to Stobley. Grudadaria, Drury, Dillon, Albert, Drokas, Hyams, and Derek are the... Sorry, that's Jagello. I don't know why it says Derek on the live stats. Derek Jagello is hitting 9th. Jesse Alfalo, Renee Vega, Damari Rodriguez, Justin Rivera, Hayden Roberts, Isaiah Velasco, Michael Cardona, Jalen Kelly, Dario Sosa, your starting 9 for the Eagles. Zion Frazier, 5.51 ERA, 3-0 this year, 7 appearances, 1 start, 16 1/3 innings pitched, 23 hits, 13 runs, 10 of them earned, 7 walks, 16 strikeouts, 7 extra base hits. Seems like our camera in the outfield has stabilized a little bit, so we'll roll with that for now, as that one is flying into left field. Nope, sorry, center field. I lost it for a second there. And making the catch is Rodriguez. There we go. It looks like everything's all set to go. Apologies for a little bit of the stuttering with it. Again, we are about 400 feet away from our camera in right field, so the fact that it's even picking us up through a fence is pretty impressive, so we're happy with that. It may just cut in and out a little bit as Grudadaria steps into the plate. Center fielder for game number 2. 2 outs quickly for Frazier. That one's in there for a strike. Grudadaria in game 1, 1 for 4 with an RBI. It's quickly 2-2 the count. Yeah, basically the same exact lineup for game number 2 for the Owls. That one's chopped back up the middle. Alfala going to grab it. He does. He lost it for a second, and he's going to be safe at first. Is Grudadaria. He had plenty of time to get him. It was a high chopper, and he got stuck in his glove when he was trying to throw it initially. And so Grudadaria reaches on an error to Alfala, as Alfala had it firmly in his glove and was just not able to firmly grasp it and fire it to first. Drury steps in, the first baseman. Again, Eagles coming off of a 13-10 Game 1 win. They're looking to make it 10 consecutive wins as they roll back into conference play after this game. That'll, again, take place against Wilmington on Tuesday, as will Caldwell University versus Post University Women's Lacrosse, which will also take place here on campus. That one's flied into right field. Going back to grab it is Sosa, and the side is retired. So, no harm, no foul as the Eagles get out of the inning after an error with 2 outs. Post coming to bat, 0-0. Bottom of the first inning, getting ready to get underway. And on the mound for the Owls will be Steve Phillips. Hold on one moment. I have to let somebody know something. All right, Jesse Alfalla coming to bat. He's looking to make it 20 consecutive games in which he has reached base safely for Post. Sorry about that. We're fixing some stuff with the live stats. If you're watching at home, it shows the number 9 hitter for Southern Connecticut's name as just Derek. That's Derek Gigello, and it should say D. Gigello, not Derek. So we're working to fix that right now. But besides that, Steve Phillips, like I said, is the starter for Southern Connecticut. 4.73 ERA, 3 appearances, 3 starts, 13 1/3 innings pitched, 12 hits allowed, 7 runs all earned, 7 walks, 15 strikeouts, 1 double, and 2 home runs. So now that we've got that set for you, let's set the field for you as well. Again, it's the same lineup as Game 1 for both teams for the most part, other than putting Dario Sosa in right field if you're Post. So you've got Fideli at second, Stoley behind the plate. You've now got Alfalla, who is going to reach base safely for the 20th straight game. Not in the way you want to, but by a hit pitch. So he'll walk down to first and extend that on-base streak to all 20 games he has played in this year. Like I was saying, Stobley behind the dish as catcher, Grudadaria in center field, Drury at first, Dillon at shortstop, Albert in left field, Drokas at designated hitter, Hyams at right field, Gigello at third base, and Phillips on the mound for the Eagles. Alfalla at short, Vega at second, Rodriguez and center, Rivera at third, Roberge in left, Velasco is the catcher, Cardona at first, Kelly your designated hitter, Sosa in right field, and Frazier your pitcher. Also of note, because he'll be hitting at some point in this game, not maybe this inning or next inning, Hayden Roberge, one hit away from 99, 100 in his career, which would be a big milestone for him between his time here and at Norwich University. But before we get there, Jesse Alfala sits at first. Rene Vega at the dish. He was hit by a pitch in the last game, which, when you look back on it, was very monumental in changing the outcome of that inning. Because when Vega was hit, there was already 2 outs in the inning. And as a result, the runner was able to, the bases were loaded. So because of the hit batter, a run came in to make it 6-5. And Vega, they were arguing whether or not he actually got hit. And if they had ruled that he didn't get hit, it would have, I believe, been an 0-2 count instead, which really changes the complexion of that whole at bat, potentially. And maybe Colin Blake escapes the inning. The Eagles don't put up 8 runs, and who knows how the rest of the game pans out. So that was a big game-changing moment there where initially it was ruled a foul ball, and then they ruled that it did actually hit off of his hand, which I thought it did from up here. I'm really confused now. The home plate umpire a couple times now, I think it has something to do with the pitch clock, honestly, and the way they were actually going to, wow, okay, we've got a balk now. I believe what happened in that whole sequence is before the previous pitch, nope, no balk. Very confusing start to this game so far. At the last pitch, Phillips was given I saw the home plate umpire step out, which I believe is Frank Urelli. And I'm sorry, that's not Frank Urelli. That's J.C. Fernandez behind the dish. 3-2 count. Okay, so what happened was they warned Phillips about the pitch clock. He violated it. And he just violated it again, so they gave him an automatic ball. If the batter doesn't step in time, and now it doesn't matter anyways because Vega strikes out looking, but if the batter doesn't step in time, it's an automatic strike. If the pitcher doesn't come set and fire before the pitch clock expires, then... Now Phillips looks like he's reading his armband. Thought he was looking for a ball even though it was in his hand. If the pitcher doesn't come home with the pitch, then it's ruled an automatic ball. And Alfala on first, I think initially thought a balk was called, and that's why he went to second before being called back to first, as that was not the case. Nonetheless, 1 out, Rodriguez at the dish. He was 2 for 3 in game 1 with an RBI and 2 walks. Everybody from post who played got a hit. And everybody except for 2 batters had multi-hit games. Jesse Alfala was 1 for 6. Eric Perez was, 1 for 3. Everybody else with 2+ hits. As Joe Cristiana moved within 1 win of tying the program record for most wins. And the Eagles will look to tie the program record for most consecutive wins in today's game if they can get a win over the Owls and finish off what would be a 4-game sweep of the weekend of them, their 7th consecutive doubleheader sweep as well. Chopped on the ground over to second, corralling it over there for the double play ball is Fideli. He fired the 4-6-3 double play. We head to the second inning. 0-0 here from Municipal Stadium in game number 2. Top of the second. Welcome back. Mike Vesey joining you for my 11th inning of calling this game. However, we have more help for game number 2, which is much appreciated because if you weren't joining us in game 1, it was a 3-man show with that pitch is in there low for a ball. It was a 3-man show of me, Jarrett Michaels, and Jared Toffel running things for game number 1. I was doing production, stats, and play-by-play all at the same time before we got some extra help from the women's lacrosse game, and we had Jared out there on the third base camera and Jarrett taking photos of our athletes. So much appreciated to all of them. And then we got some help in the 7th inning as our women's lacrosse game ended, and our folks from women's lacrosse came over to assist us with the rest of that game and this game now, which has made my life a whole lot easier as well because I only have to focus on calling the game and not doing the stats in the production, as we have plenty of folks to get hands-on with doing all of that. Patrick Dillon at the dish, first at bat of the day. He went 1 for 5 in the first game with the single. Eagles in game number 1 had 4 extra base hits and also 4 hit batters. As that one is flown into right field, Sosa's going to get under it and grab it for the first out. Southern Connecticut also had 5 extra base hits, all doubles. Both teams had 18 hits in game number 1, so a much quieter start. In fact, in that last inning, it was our first full inning of no runs in this doubleheader today. I mean, considering that the 9th inning was only 1/2 inning, we don't know if the Eagles would have scored any more. That was the only inning that had no runs in it, the 9th inning of last game. But that was the first full inning without a run, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that might have been. No, we still have not had a 1-2-3 inning in this doubleheader, I believe, if I'm looking at things correctly. Both teams have, no 1-2-3 innings so far. But Zion Frazier is looking to change that here as he's ahead in the count 1-2 to Augie Albert. Frazier has retired the first. Well, we're on the 6th hitter as that's strikeout for Frazier. We're on the 6th hitter. Now the 7th in Drokas. Of course, everybody in the lineup 0 for 1 to start because of the error to Alfala on the infield, where he was unable to get the ball out of his glove. That one is low for a ball, 0-1. Chopped on the ground. Rivera comes in to get it, picks it out of his glove, fires over to first, and that's the first 1-2-3 half inning we've had all game long. So the Eagles, 3 up, 3 down with Zion Frazier on the mound. We head to the bottom of the second. 0-0. Justin Rivera coming to the dish for the Eagles as they look to strike first in game number 2 of this afternoon's doubleheader and extend their winning streak to 10 straight games. Be the heart of the order coming up, and we'll have a chance for history as Hayden Roberge will get in at bat and have a chance to get his 100th career hit after getting 2 hits in game number 1. He needed 3 coming into the day. That one's fouled off, and quickly Rivera behind in the count 0-2 against Phillips. Rivera in game number 1, 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and a run scored. Had a sac fly as well. He also oh no, I'm sorry, I'm looking at Rodriguez right above him. 3 RBIs, 2 hits, 1 run scored. That one's hit back up the middle. It's a base hit for Rivera, so he continues his hot doubleheader with a single up the middle. And Post in business with their first hit of the game as Hayden Roberge rolls to the dish with a chance at 100. Roberge in game 1, like I mentioned, he had 2 hits, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. Both singles that he had. All but 2 players for Post in game number 1 having RBIs. That one's in there for a strike, 0-1 the count. For Phillips, this is his 4th start of the year. He has no record so far. That one's fouled off. 0-2 the count. Busy week around the Eagles coming up in athletics as women's tennis even gets involved now with things going on. And men's golf has an invitational in New York this week, Pitch is high for a ball, 1-2. So pretty much every spring /fall team will be in action, whether it's at home or locally. Softball has a few days off before taking on New Haven on Thursday. Weather pending. That one's just off the outside corner. Phillips wanted it but didn't get it. And the count is now 2-2. It seems like it's warmed up a little bit. Maybe that's just because I'm not in front of the window anymore, but it seems like less wind and no more rain falling from the sky as Roberge gets rung up on a pitch that nearly hit his elbow. And he's down looking for the first out of the inning. So he'll have to wait for hit number 100 and potentially his next at-bat. Isaiah Velasco, though, will stroll up, 3 for 5 in game 1 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs scored. Velasco is part of that 3rd inning, which featured 8 runs with his RBI double. He also had a triple in the 7th inning. So he was halfway to the cycle. Actually, my apologies for not pointing it out in game number 1 with everything going on, but he actually just fell a home run short of the cycle. Had a single, double, and a triple. The triple coming in the 7th inning. Line drive back to defense. Count moved to 0-2 on the foul ball. In the all-time series against Southern Connecticut, Eagles now winners of 6 in a row. That one's hitting the air to left field. And it's going to be hauled in over there by Albert for the second out. Eagles have won 6 consecutive games against Southern Connecticut, dating back to 2023 when they took them on in Myrtle Beach, winning 9-7. That same year, they also took them on in Lantana, Florida, at St. Lucy's High School, winning 9-4 and 10-2. And then earlier this year, yesterday, the Eagles swept through the Owls 6-1 and 8-5 for their 4th and 5th consecutive wins against them. This is the longest winning streak in program history that they've had, and ironically enough, the longest losing streak they've had, as that one swung on and missed, that one was swung and hit over to third. And Jagello fires over to first to end the inning. So we'll talk more about that when we get back post. So you head to the top of the third. We're tied at 0-0 here at Municipal Stadium. Southern Connecticut looking to make some sparks fly in the third, which is ironically enough the name of our next pitcher on the mound. Kyle Sparks takes the hill for the Eagles in inning number 3. Zion Frazier's is done after just 2 innings, which I'm going to guess this game is going to just be a by-committee game for the Eagles. Again, you have conference play. It's coming up on Tuesday. You want to be able to use your pitchers in those big games. So I have a feeling that's why we're now seeing Kyle Sparks come on. 8.10 ERA, 2 appearances, 3 1/3 innings, in which he's given up 5 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned, 2 walks, no strikeouts, and 2 extra base hits. So he takes the bump here against the 8-hitter in Aiden Hyams. Hyams did not play in Game 1. He's the lone switch for the Owls. He's hitting .091 in 7 games with 1 hit and 1 RBI. Also has a walk and 5 strikeouts. And now he lifts that one into left field, and a little bit of an adventure out there for Auberge, but he makes the catch for the first out. Man, I almost thought he had enough on that one to get it out of here, but it fell a couple feet short of the warning track as Auberge retires the loud first out of the 3rd inning. We were talking about it, the win streak for Post University, 6 in a row against the Owls, which is also ironically the longest losing streak that the Eagles had from 2005 to 2013 when they lost 6 straight against Southern Connecticut. The all-time series currently sits at 12, 22, and 2. So Do the math on that. Before the 6-game winning streak, the Eagles were 6-22-2 against the Owls. Swung on and missed for strike number 1 to Jagello. In his first at bat of the day. Owls still in search of their first hit as he's quickly behind in the count 1-2. As a team, the Owls so far this year hitting .280. That was before the first game, so we don't have updated stats for everybody based on game 1. These were just their stats coming into the afternoon with the doubleheader and the quick switch over. We had about 35 minutes in between between game 1 and game 2, which got underway just around 3:45 like expected. Pitches upstairs for a ball. 3-2 now the count from Sparks, which will come up here. Sparks delivers, and that one's just outside for a ball, and taking his base will be Jagello, and the top of the order now coming up as Chad Fideli comes to the plate. Entered the day 10 for 47 over on the year, .213 batting average, no home runs, 13 RBIs. First pitch is outside. It looked like about the same spot as that fourth ball from Sparks. Nonetheless, he's behind in the count 1-0 now. That one's low for a ball. Now 2-0 the count. Now going out to talk to him is Isaiah Velasco, who was in right field in game number 1. Now for game 2 is behind the plate. We've seen this throughout the year where they go by committee behind the plate in terms of catchers. And I've always said, too, you have certain scenarios where there are some players who like pitching or using a certain catcher, which could also be the case in some instances, which could be that today. That one's lifted in the air to left field. Going back to try and get his or Burge, it's going to be off the base of the wall. Rounding third and trying to score is Jagello. The cutoff goes to Alfala. Jagello's across the plate with the score. And the Owls lead 1-0 as Chad Fideli has an RBI double off of Kyle Sparks, which also coincides with the first hit of the afternoon for Southern Connecticut State University, who leads 1-0. So for the second straight game, they take the lead right off the bat. That one's fouled off. Count 0-1. So the Eagles, like with game 1, will have some work to do. Trailing now 1-0. And similar to before, I'm going to say it again. You want to limit the damage, keep it to 1 here, and work your way back into it. That one's in the dirt. Count moves to 1-1. Steve Phillips is a graduate student from left-hander from Watertown, Connecticut, going up against this Eagles lineup. The pitching this weekend for Southern Connecticut has not been very good, if we're putting it blunt. They've had their struggles so far this year. This weekend against the Eagles, and it seems like at one point or another they always are able to start tagging them for some runs. As that one is lined into left field, and that's going to fall just foul. So we'll do it again with the 2-2 count from Sparks. Be sure to stay tuned after the game as well. We'll likely have a post-game interview with somebody from the Eagles after their Game 1 win. We'll figure out who. On this Saturday afternoon from Municipal. That one is swung on and missed, and Sparks gets Stobley swinging for the second out of the inning. Two outs. Runner on second for Grudidaria, who's 0 for 1 on the day. Or in game 2 of the doubleheader. Owls lead 1-0. Fouled off to the left. Sparks on the mound after 2 innings of work for Zion Frazier. Mainly seen Sparks out of the bullpen like we did today, as that one's in their first strike, 1-2. And this will probably be a pitch by committee sort of game for head coach Ray Scold's team as they get ready for Wilmington in a couple more games against 4 games against Felicia next weekend. Have to think, because we didn't see him today, but we saw Christian and Holligan the last 2 days, that you're probably going to get Jake Bowman in one of the 2 games on Tuesday. And then, depending on the availability of Jack Martineau and Matt Seaman, you may see one of those 2, or Sebastian Velasquez. So that's why, like we said, kind of trying to pitch by committee in this doubleheader as you get ready for a big Tuesday matchup, as that one's lined into left field by Grudidaria, and the run's going to score, and then they're going to double Grudidaria. They're going to get Grudidaria out for first. He was trying to stretch it, and he wasn't able to do so. I believe that went down 7-6-3, if I'm not mistaken. But the Owls get another run across. They get 2 runs across in total. Another one across on that hit, the RBI single by Grudidaria. Head to the bottom of the third. 2-0 Owls. Jalen Kelly coming to bat. Eagles have some work to do. They're down 2-0 here in the third inning, but the third inning was also the time they struck last game against the Owls with 8 runs in that third inning. Do they have another big inning in them against Steve Phillips? Phillips taking his time. And while he's taking his time, interesting note, Jarrett Michaels, our producer to the left, told me that he used to play with Phillips back in the day. Just a little side note to add to the broadcast. Phillips delivers, nearly hits Kelly. I've noticed Kelly seems to be crowding the plate, kind of like Roberge was too. That pitch was awfully close to him. Eagles now are 14-8 on the year. That one's in there for a strike, 1-1. Kelly in game number 1, 2 for 4. And now he lifts that one into left center field. Ranging over to try and grab it is Grudadaria. He won't be able to do so. Kelly not quite fast enough to be able to turn that one into 2. It's a single for him, and now the tying run is at the plate in Dario Sosa. Big leadoff single there for Kelly. Puts the Eagles in business here to start the third inning. Phillips fires, and that one's in there for a strike. 1-0 the count. So it looks like he checked his swing. They're going to say he did not go, so the count moves to 1-1. Another arm getting loose in the bullpen for Post. Looks like that's number 9. Dalton Wright. As that one's lifted into right field, foul. So Dalton Wright likely to come in the 4th inning. Maybe they give Sparks another shot to start the third, and if he gives up a couple hits, then maybe they turn to Dalton Wright, or maybe they give Wright a full inning. Again, pitching by committee today, or committee in game 2, it looks like. The Eagles went with Christiana in game number 1 and then decided and yesterday they went with Holligan and Portes as well, and they were very fortunate too. You know, when you think about it too, a big part of being able to use less pitchers, especially with the college baseball schedule, is being able to make sure that you get quality starts out of your pitchers. And they got quality starts out of both Bowman and Portes yesterday to help them, you know, save some of those arms for today, which is big as Sosa goes down looking for the first out of the inning. Brings up the top of the lineup, Jesse Alfala, who got hit by a pitch in his first at-bat to extend his on-base streak to 20 consecutive games for Post. I don't know, because we don't have a record in the record books that shows what the record is. I believe Michael Pavelchak hit the 20s or 30s last year in terms of an on-base streak. Again, there's no single game or season record indicating that sort of thing that I could locate from Post University Baseball's record history. But Alfala now with 20 consecutive games reaching the mark that he has. And they're going to call Phillips, it looks like, they're going to call Phillips for a pitch clock violation. And someone just yelled out, way to work the count down there. So Phillips, that's the second pitch clock violation. And, you know, it's interesting, too, because this is the first year as Alfala goes down swinging. This is the first year the pitch clock has been instituted at the D2 level. You know, you're going to have some of these instances where people may not be used to it or haven't seen it before, and so they're not they're learning how to navigate it as time goes on. And Steve Phillips, in his graduate year, has been pitching since 2021 at Southern Connecticut. I'm sure it's a little bit of a learning curve for him, seeing that it's the first year it's been instituted at the D2 level. There is a pitch clock in left field that we can see. There's also one behind home plate that the batter can see, or the pitcher can see. The batter can see the outfield one, but the pitcher can kind of time themselves on when they need to be ready to go and firing at home, as quickly Vega is in a 0-2 hole with 2 outs here in the third inning. He's technically the tying run right now as Post trails 2-0. Chopped on the ground foul, and we'll do it again. Eagles play a 36-game conference schedule. And they've started at 10-0. First time in program history they've done that. Inside on Vega, 1-2 the count. Phillips gets ready and fires it home. That one's popped in the air to right field. Ranging over to make the final out of the inning is Hyams. So, Eagles strand one. For a second, no one was coming off the field, but the Eagles strand one. They trail 2-0 as we head to the fourth inning of this 7-inning affair. Top of the fourth inning is here already. A much quicker. We're not even an hour into this one, folks, and we're moving along a lot quicker than we were in Game 1, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the first 3 or 4 innings took about an hour and a half, and that was primarily because there was 14 runs put up between the two teams in those first 3 innings. First pitch to Drury is a strike. He's 0 for 1 in game number 2. Drury in game number 1 was 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 doubles, a walk as well. In game 1, both teams left 9 runners stranded on base. So far in today's game, 2 runners left on base for Post, 1 left on base for Southern Connecticut. That is still Kyle Sparks on the mound as well, so he gets a second inning. And the other interesting thing to note about a 7-inning game, or even a 9-inning game in some cases, it typically, like I mentioned in game number 1, if you were joining us, you have to pitch a minimum of 5 innings to get the win. However, if it's predetermined by the coaching staff of a team that they're going to throw XYZ pitchers for XYZ innings, you could actually award the starter the win. So, for example, if obviously Post is losing right now, so it doesn't really matter, this wouldn't come into play as that one is swung on and missed, and chasing him down is Velasco for the first out for Drury, and that'll bring Dillon to the plate, Patrick Dillon. If, for example, Post was leading, though, and head coach Ray Skold had said prior to the game, or we noticed during the game, each pitcher is going to go 3 innings, let's say, or 2 innings. You could give then the first pitcher of the game the win. It does not have to go to the most effective reliever. It can go to the starter if it's predetermined that these pitchers are going to go 2 innings each throughout the course of the game. However, if not, the rule in a 7-inning game is you must pitch at least 4 innings because that constitutes over half of the game. That one is skied into center field by Dillon. Going back to get it is Rodriguez. He grabs it, and that's the second out of the inning. So much better start to this second inning of relief for Sparks as he gets the first 2 batters out, and that brings up Augie Albert. Just 2 hits so far for Southern Connecticut, 1 for Fideli, 1 for Grudidaria, both with RBIs as well. It's really like I said in game number 1, the top of the lineup was producing heavily. Fideli and Stobley had a combined 5 RBIs as that one is swung on and missed by Albert. They had a combined 5 RBIs at the top of the lineup. In total, the first 4 hitters recorded 8 of the 9 possible RBIs, with Gigello recording the other one. Gigello had a 4-for-5 game number 1, but only 1 RBI to show for it. So all 4 singles. Sparks delivers the 1-1. It's chopped over to a foul at short. Over to first. Side retired. A 1-2-3 inning for Sparks. Post trails 2-0. Head to the bottom of the 4th. Ethan Phillips, Steve Phillips out there for a 4th inning of worth. Ethan Phillips is a former men's golfer at Post University who had a stellar year last fall. Speaking of men's golf, they are headed to New York tomorrow for an invitational at Dominican after finishing 2nd place in the St. Anselm, Florida Invitational the other day. That was a good segue. Rodriguez is hit by a pitch from Phillips, and he'll take first. And tying run and Justin Rivera now at the dish as the leadoff man on for Post University here in the 4th inning. So, like I mentioned, Phillips would then be eligible for the win now if he finishes this inning with the lead because of that, this being a 7-inning affair. Pitch is high for a ball, 1-0. Rivera, like I mentioned in game number 1, reached 150 career hits earlier this year in the last home series. Fouled off to the right now. Count moves to 1-1. Not a bad day it turned into here. I mean, it's not nice, but it's not awful as the rain subsided earlier on in game 1. But it is very cold. It's almost winter-like out there for the end of March, but that's life in New England, honestly. That one's in there for a strike. In fact, we were talking about it a few games ago. The weather for the CACC championship in May last year, the high for the championship game was 58. So really never even got warm here during the season and in the postseason. Rivera chops that one to third. It's going to go down as a 6-4-3 double play as Jagello, Fideli, and Drury whip it around the bases. And just like that, the base is cleared for Hayden Roberge, who can make it 100 career hits here in this at-bat if he can do it. First pitch is low for a ball. 1-0 the count. Side for a ball, 2-0 now. Phillips hasn't kind of had too much in these counts, but Post has been aggressive at the plate. Looking for the pitch they want as that one's fouled back. Two one coming. That one hits Roberge, so he will take first. So that's the second hit batter. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's the 6th or 7th batter overall hit by Southern Connecticut State pitching today between the two games. And so after the double play, Roberge now gets on. He'll again still have to wait for hit number 100, but he gets on. And Isaiah Velasco will come to the plate, catcher. Representing what is the tying run right now in the 4th inning is quick stoppage, and we'll reset here. 3 hit batters in this game. 4 last, so that was the 7th batter hit by Southern Connecticut State University pitching. Alfala, Rodriguez, and Roberge have all been hit in this game. Last game, Vega wore a couple on him. Excuse me, Eric Perez wore a couple on him. Vega wore one, and Roberge also wore another, so probably going to be some bruises in the morning, but this team will get right back at it on Tuesday, which it's not even much warmer, but it should be a little bit better out in general in terms of might have sun, which would be a plus. As Velasco is behind in the count 0-2. The outlook for Tuesday, 50 degrees and sunny with a 16-mile-an-hour wind here in Waterbury. That one's low for a ball. A little bit of a rainy week coming up, and there is rain in the forecast actually for next weekend on Saturday and Sunday as of right now. Post baseball is slated to be home on Saturday. Off the plate for a ball, 2-2, but no signs of warmer weather. It's looking like it's going to be in the mid-50s for quite some time throughout the spring season for Post Athletics. And that's your weather report now for on the CACC network. 2-2 coming. Velasco drives that one into right field. Going back to try and get it is Hyams at the wall, and that one's out of here. Isaiah Velasco with a home run. And just like that, we have a brand new ball game as it's 2-2. Velasco goes big fly to right field. And that's his first home run of the season. He's got a cycle on the afternoon now. between Game 1 and Game 2, as he had a single, double, triple in Game 1, and now Velasco ties it up with the 2-run shot off of Phillips. And Michael Cardona comes to the plate now. Off the bat, it looked good. He got all of that one. Just the sweet spot of it. Watch out. Cardona fouls that one off sharply near the Southern Connecticut State coaches on the bench just outside of the dugout. You can't see it really on stream, but the dugouts are covered pretty much 360 except on the ends, or else there'd be no way to get in, obviously. As it's a 1-1 count and a brand new ball game from Municipal Stadium, as Isaiah Velasco makes Phillips pay for hitting Hayden Roberge just before that. His first home run of the season. Low for a ball, 2-1. Nobody warming in the bullpen now for the Eagles. Like we mentioned earlier on, they did have somebody warming up in Dalton Wright. Eagles in the field this year coming in today had a .962 fielding percentage. For Southern Connecticut, .971. Of course, the Eagles had one of the, if not the highest fielding percentage in program history last season. But there was also a lot of changes to this team. If you look at the starting lineup for today's game, I'm looking at it briefly. I think only three off the top of my head, 3 or 4 of these guys were regularly in the lineup last year. Not that they didn't play. They did frequently, but they weren't in that core starting lineup of 9 that usually did. You know, you lost a few people to graduation. You have a couple injuries this year in Evan Cornwell and Hunter Keller, who would otherwise be in this lineup. But the guys that have slotted into their spots, as well as all the students who graduated as well as transferred, such as Michael Pavlicek and Jimmy Brennan, who transferred away to Seton Hall, have done a really good job of filling in these roles that were left behind these. The battery behind the plate of Perez and Velasco has been very solid, as that one is popped into foul territory, and Drury makes the catch. So Isaiah Velasco goes deep to right field, ties the game up at 2-2. Head to the 5th inning, brand new ball game. Kyle Sparks going to go back out there for a 3rd inning of relief. Zach Draukus steps in. As we are already in the 5th inning of this one. Time flies when you're having fun at Municipal Stadium. And if you want to come down to a game later this year, we've got plenty this week alone. Tuesday, Wilmington comes to town at noon for doubleheader, 9-7 doubleheader split. And then Saturday, Felician comes for another 12 and 3:30-ish split. We put 3:30 on the website to be safe in case a game like Game 1 runs long. Because we certainly did not start at 3:30 with game number 2, but there are other times where we finish up in 2 hours and we're starting at 2:30, 2:45 with game number 2. Baseball is not a time sport, so you never know what you're going to get when you come to the ballpark. 2-1 count off the outside corner for a ball. Drukas in the driver's seat right now. 3-1. That one nearly in the same spot, but called a strike, and so now the count goes full. Drukas in game 1, 2 for 5 with 2 runs scored. And he really kind of went after that one that was off the plate and high and swung away at it. Foul. The count remains full. Sparks delivers, fouled off again, but will Cardona have enough room? Nope, not enough. That'll go into the seats. And we'll do it all over again. Three-two. Chopped back up the middle. That looks like it's going to get through. It will, and that's a base hit for Drukas, who sits on first base now with nobody out to start this inning. As Aiden Himes comes to the plate. A little fun fact, as we're looking through the history of post-university baseball, Game 1 was only the second time between these two teams in which both teams have put up 10 or more runs. The only other time came in 2019 on March 15th when the Eagles lost 13-10. So the 2 times both teams have reached double-digit runs, there's been 13-10 final scores, one each in favor of the other. That was just a sacrifice by Himes. He's out at first, but Drukas advances to second. So runner in scoring position now for Gigello. That one's hit into right field. Sosa going to give chase into foul territory. Can't get there and then runs into the fence. 0-1 the count. If you're looking photos of any of your favorite post-university athletes, check out our Flickr page. You can locate that on the Photos tab on the Eagles Athletic website. Or if you go to your favorite team's schedule, you can find it under any home game. There's a link that says photos. That'll take you right there. We already have photos up for, well, some of them up, for baseball, as that one is skied into left field. Going over to give chase Israel Burge. He can't get there. And that's going to be a RBI double for Gigello. And the Owls retake the lead 3-2 with the top of the lineup coming to bat. In Chad Fideli. Yeah, we got some of the photos up of the baseball team from today as Kyle Sparks is going to see his day come to a close. So he had a rocky start, kind of figured it out in the last half inning, and then got hit around a little here to start the 5th. So Ray Scold will go to the bullpen, and I believe that is Dalton Wright going out to relieve him. Top of the fifth, 1 out, 3-2. Post trails now. Be right back here on the CACC Network. Dalton Wright out there now to pitch the fifth inning. Runner on second in Fideli. And Stobley at the plate with 1 out. And that's off of the helmet of... I'm sorry, that was Fideli at the dish. Gigello is on second. Fideli is just hitting the head with the pitch. And he walks down to first. Now, I don't think, even though the reaction from the dugout on the right side from Southern Connecticut seemed a little upset, that was not by any means intentional. You're not trying to do that here in a 3-2 ball game, not to mention, regardless of the situation of Southern Connecticut hitting seven Eagles throughout the doubleheader. That by no means is intentional or anything. The ball slipped out of his hand. Again, like we mentioned, it's a very cold day out here, so I can only imagine how hard it is to grip the ball out there on the mound if you're a pitcher. That one's hit back to right, and then it's going to go through the gap up the middle. It's a base hit. Coming around to score is Gigello from second, and it's an RBI single for Stobley. Brennan Stobley gives the Owls their 2-run lead back, and it's 4-2 in favor of the visitors. As we've seen so far with these two teams this weekend, I mean, no game is out of reach for Post. They've come back in the last two affairs after winning game 1 6-1 yesterday. Came back from a 3-2 deficit in the 6th inning of the second game yesterday, and then today in game 1 came back from a 6-0 deficit in the 3rd inning. Pitch was outside for a ball. 1-1 count. Wright fires it home in the dirt. Count goes to 2-1. They say he did not swing. Grew to Daria. was 1 and 2 on the day with an RBI. And yet again, like it was in game one, it's that top and the very bottom of the lineup that's producing for these Owls. I mean, their top 3 hitters account for 3 of the 4 RBIs. And their 9 hitter, and Gigello, accounts for the other one. Those same hitters also account for 4 of the 5 hits that they have in this game. With Drokas getting the other one in the dirt, and that's going to be a ball, and that's going to be a walk. So now the bases are loaded with 1 out here. The top of the 5th. Eagles looking to extend their winning streak to 10 straight games, which would tie a program record, and move to 15-8 on the young season before heading back into conference play, presumably for the rest of the year, unless that second game against Southern Connecticut State, Southern New Hampshire University is made up. First pitch of the at-bat to Drury is in the dirt for a ball. That one's fouled out to the left side as Wright looks to escape some trouble, keep this at a 2-run game, and give Post a chance in the bottom of the 5th. Eagles just got done tying it up on the 2-run home run by Isaiah Velasco, his first of the season. They will have the bottom of the lineup up and the top. They'll have Sosa, Alfala, and Vega coming to bat in the bottom of the 5th. Two-one. On the ground, and they were shading over. Alfala was over near the second base, and then it's going to be misplayed. It looks like the runner was coming home either way, or Burge misplayed the ball, but it's going to be a 2-run single for Drury, and the Owls have now blown it open 6-2 with 4 runs here in the top of the 5th. Now Wright will look to get right back to it here against Dillon. Patrick Dillon 0 for 2 in the second game. Zion Frazier threw 28 pitches. Kyle Sparks 43. Wright so far 12. Phillips on the other end 67 pitches, 39 for strikes for Southern Connecticut. I do not see anybody warming up, so I have to assume that this is going to be his game as long as things don't go off the rails too much, especially with the number of pitchers that Southern Connecticut has had to use in this weekend series. Southern Connecticut also will return to conference play this week. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be a conference game against New Haven. It's not marked as one on the website, so I'm assuming it must not be. It must be a single game for the midweek, Wednesday against New Haven. And then they return to NE10 play on Saturday with a doubleheader against Adelphi. It's chopped on the ground by Dillon. Count goes to 3-2. Wright sets and then checks on the runner at first, and It's going to be an error. I don't know who to. I feel like Cardona is probably going to get charged with that one for mishandling it. Just went right off of his glove. Wright didn't overthrow it. It literally went right off of Cardona's glove. So runners advance on the pickoff move. They're going to give that error to Wright on the throw. The Eagles look to just get out of this inning. Trailing 6-2. That one's outside for sure. I mean, hey, it's not the worst thing in the world because with Dillon on base now, you got to play to every base. The infield is now in for post, whereas the double play ball, because of that error, was out of the question unless they got to force that at home and then were able to get over to first in time. However, instead, it's going to be Augie Albert to the plate. He's also 0 for 2. You're starting to get closer and closer to that part of the lineup that's really given the Eagles some trouble in this doubleheader today. Lined into right field, Sosa came in at first for it and then went back out, and that's going to be good enough for a sacrifice fly. So Augie Albert brings in another run. It's 7-2 on the sac fly by him. And we're back where we started with Drukas now at the plate. Now with the Owls in front by 5. And still threatening for more. Ball low, 5 runs in this inning. Very similar to game number 1 when they had 5 runs in the second inning before Post made their comeback. That one's outside for a ball. Again, seems like they're pitching by committee in this one for Post to prepare and get ready for Tuesday's doubleheader against Wilmington. Where the Eagles will look to extend their conference winning streak. So far, 10 straight this year, but the winning streak, at least within conference play, that one is lined into right field, and that's going to get down for a base hit. You're going to hold the runner at third, and the bases will be loaded. For Aiden Himes. The Eagles have won 16 consecutive games in conference play since last year. It's just something to note heading into their game against Wilmington. They did lose to Goldie Beacom on the road, or in the NCAA tournament, but that's not a conference game per se. As we get a pitching change, it's going to be Tim Mingo on the mound. We'll come back in a moment and give you his stats here on CACC Network. All right, welcome back. I lied. That is not Tim Mingo out there. It is Harvey Valera. Mingo was another reliever who potentially was going to see time today. Harvey Valera comes into this appearance with an 18 ERA. He's 0-1 on the year. He's made 2 appearances. So, again, the ERA is elevated solely because of the lack of innings pitched so far, because he gave up 7 runs, 6 earned in 3 innings with 10 hits and 1 strikeout. Valera will look to get out of this inning and probably pitch a little more after this, I'd have to guess. As he faces Hyams. In the dirt for a ball, 1-0. That one's upstairs for a ball. Harvey Valera also one of the hitters for this team. Hitting .250 in the batter's box in 16 games. 12 hits, two doubles, 1 home run, 8 RBIs. He's walked 9 times, and he has 1 stolen base. So you could call him the Shohei Ohtani of the Eagles, as he's done a little bit of pitching and a little bit of hitting so far this year. That was a very delayed call by the home plate umpire. It looked like Hyams was ready to walk down to first, and then he pointed the finger for the strike call. Valera delivers that fastball down the center of the dish. And we got 3-2, bases loaded, 2 outs, as Valera looks to escape any further harm. His post trails 7-2 right now. And that one's high for a ball, and that'll walk in a run. So it's now a 6-run game, which is kind of deja vu from game 1, when the Eagles trailed by 6-0, and then came back to score 8. Do they have another rally in them? We'll have to see over the next 3 innings. That one is in there for a strike, 0-1. So right after Isaiah Velasco gave momentum back to Post with his 2-run home run that tied the game up, Owls have now put across 6 at the top of the 5th, and they're still threatening for more. Hayden Roberge is still in search of his 100th career hit. He'll probably have another at-bat to do that today. That one's fouled off to the right side, out of play. Gigello at the dish now, 1 for 1 with a walk, RBI, and he scored both times he has reached base. 2 extra base hits so far for Southern Connecticut, only 1 for Post. That was the Velasco home run. Just outside for a ball, 2-2 the count. That one's swung on and chopped off to the right side, foul and out of play. Or not out of play, but not playable. We started out quick in the first 3 innings, and we've really slowed to a grinding halt now as we approach the 2-hour mark of game number 2. Valera fouls that off, or gets Gigello to foul that one off. We appreciate you joining us here on this Sunday afternoon, wherever you are, wherever you might be listening from, for 16 innings of baseball today between Post University and Southern Connecticut State University, as well as if you joined us for women's lacrosse, who dropped their home opener 18-4 against Holy Family. Paige Piper with 2 goals in that, Macy Peterson with 1 as well, and Jessica Krupnikoff with the 4th goal. As that one is swung on a miss, and Valera gets out of it. Owls strike for 6. Post trails by 6 heading into the bottom of the 5th. Back here for the bottom of the 5th. Steve Phillips still out there for the Owls. And he's facing Dario Sosa, the 9-hitter for Post, who is 0-1 so far today. Post with 2 runs, 3 hits, 2 errors. Southern Connecticut with 8 runs, 7 hits, no errors. You look across the pitching lines for everybody. Phillips coming into this AB, 67 pitches, 3 hits, 2 runs, both earned, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. For the Eagles, Zion Frazier pitched a perfect 2 innings with 1 strikeout. Kyle Sparks came in and, again, kind of had a shaky start, calmed down, and then in the 4th inning ran into some trouble. That one's going to be chopped on the ground and over to first for the first out of the inning. With that one was Dylan. Sparks ended up finishing the day 2 1/3 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs, both all earned, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. Wright pitched a third of the inning, gave up 3 hits, 4 runs on those 3 hits, 2 walks. And then Valera came in and walked a batter and struck out a batter to get out of the inning. That run that Valera walked in was charged to Wright. And that's where we stand now with 1 out and time running out for the Eagles to try and extend their winning streak to 10 consecutive games. That one's in the air by Jesse Alfala. Alfala got a hit in game number 1, extended his on-base streak to 19 games, and then in game 2 was hit by a pitch from Phillips in the first inning. So he successfully extended his on-base streak to 20 games, regardless of what happens in this at-bat. You'll see Roberge at least in the next inning, if not sooner, in his quest for 100 career hits. Two one coming, fouled off, and now the count pulls even to 2-2. Outside for a ball, 3-2. Vega on deck, Rodriguez in the hole. If they can get past anything and string together some hits, then that would be Justin Rivera up next. And then Hayden Roberge is right at the top of the order now. As Alfala grounds that one to third, picking that one up is Gigello. Fires over to first, 2 away. That'll bring Rene Vega to the plate. Southern Connecticut looking to snap post 9-game win streak overall, 6-game win streak in the head-to-head. The Owls have not beaten Post since 2022 when they won 6-5 down in Florida. As the first pitch to Vega was fouled off. Hit in the air to right field, getting under that one. And making the grab to end the inning is Hyams. Top of the 6th coming up. 8-2, Owls lead. Top of the 6th, and as we return to the top of the 6th, we want to say a special happy birthday to our post-university athletics business manager and secretary downstairs, Kim Wadman. So if you're listening, Kim, happy birthday. We just got the email from our athletic director, Karen Mann. We wanted to wish you a happy birthday on this Sunday. We hope you're enjoying it, as that's a ground out Vega over to first to Cardona to retire Stobley for the first out of the inning. Excuse me, Fideli for the first out of the inning. Stobley now at the dish, takes that one for a strike, 0-1. Takes another in there for a strike. Count quickly 0-2 as Harvey Valera is working in his second inning. Technically a second inning. He's only pitched one third of an inning, but the second inning on the scoreboard. Stobbe fouls that one off. That one's lined. Vega for somebody his size is really able to get up there after the ball, but Stobbe's going to get in there with a double as Vega was not able to rein that one in. It was way over his head. For 5'7", I have to think his vertical is probably like another 2 feet after that with the way he's been getting after the balls that high in the sky. He wasn't able to snag that one. Stobbe's on second with a double, and the Owls looking to go back to work here in the sixth. First pitch of the at-bat to Grudidaria is up high for a ball. Grudidaria so far today 1 for 2. As I do see somebody warming up. I think that's Sean Nowicki in the bullpen for... Yeah, it is Nowicki warming up in the bullpen for Post. So if Valera can't get out of here, or if Valera can get out of here, honestly, it might be a 7th inning for Nowicki to come. Do not see anybody in the bullpen per se for Southern, but I do see some people around the bullpen. So I don't know if anything's going on down there for them, as that one's fouled off again. That one's inside, and the count will go full. Grudidaria with an RBI and a walk. He's also scored once in that 1 for 2 day, and then he fouls that one off his foot. That one had to hurt. And he's down getting looked at, it looks like. A few people keeping an eye on him. He's trying to walk it off, but man, that you can see him grimacing, at least we can. You probably can't on your camera angle on the stream, but he is grimacing in pain, trying to walk that one off. You know, that already hurts enough when you do that. And it's not intentional, obviously, but it cannot feel good with how cold it is if your feet are cold too. So Grudidaria steps back in. 3-2 count, 1 out, runner on second. Valera on the mound. Looks, delivers. That's high for a ball, and he's going to walk gingerly down to first. I'm going to guess they're going to get a pinch runner for him. Unless he thinks he can keep going. It looks like he's going to stay in. We'll have to check, though, to see if he's going to... He is the center fielder, so that's the other thing. If he doesn't think he can keep going with the way his foot is right now. It looks like he's running well, though, as Vega gets the force out at first for 3. Runners advance up a base, and there are 2 gone here in the 6th. Two down for Valera as Dillon comes to the plate. with his 0 for 2 day. That one's just off the dish, 1-0. Flown in the air by Dylan to right. Sosa over to grab it. He will, and that will retire the side. So no runs come across. 8-2 as we head to the bottom of the 6th. Post needs some runs if they want to get back into this one. They trail by 6. Demaris Rodriguez coming to the plate. The Eagles trailing by 6 and have 6 outs as of right now to work with to get back into it. One's outside for a ball as Phillips is still out there for the Owls. Takes a cut at that one. It goes foul and out of play. Scott in the air to center field. It's going to get down for a base hit into that right center field gap. And Rodriguez is on with a leadoff single. As Post will look to get a bit of a rally going here as they have the heart of the order up as cleanup hitter Justin Rivera now comes to the plate. Rivera takes that pitch off the plate for ball 1. The senior is 1 for 2 so far in today's game with a single. And that one is fired over to third, but nicely played by Gigello as he converts on the 6-4-3 double play. And just like that, the bases are empty for Post. And there are 2 outs in the inning, and Hayden Roberge, likely his last at-bat of the day, unless Post can get a rally going. He fouls that one off. Chance at number 100 for Roberge in terms of hits. He's 0 for so far in game number 2. Had 2 hits in game number 1. Yeah, one's in there for a strike. 0-2. Roberge laid off of that pitch outside as the count now goes to 1-2 as Phillips is awaiting getting his pitch. He's running out of time on that pitch clock. 6 seconds and 5. He comes set and fires. And Roberge laces that one into left field and might get down, and that's hit number 100 for Hayden Roberge. That'll get all the way to the wall, and picking it up is Augie Albert. Hayden Roberge in the second base with a double, and he's got his 100th career hit between his time at Norwich University and Post University with his 3rd overall hit of the day. So congratulations to Hayden Roberge on that milestone in his career. Throughout his time playing collegiate baseball. And with that, Isaiah Velasco, who had a home run in his last at-bat to tie the game at the time at 2-all, comes to the plate. Swings and misses at the first pitch. And it's down in the count 0-1. Just outside for a ball, count moves to 1-1. Roberge standing on second. Eagles trail by 6. Can they get a couple across here and then complete the comeback in the next half inning? It's fouled off, and now 1-2. Just off of the plate. Count pulls even at 2-all. Chopped on the ground by Velasco over to first, picking up his Drury. He steps on the bag, side retired. So the Eagles strand Hayden Roberge at second, who gets his 100th career hit. Head to the 7th inning. Post trailing by 6. Augie Albert to the dish as we head into the final, well, potentially the final inning of this game if the Eagles are able to make a comeback and extend things. As Albert lines that one into the gap, it's going to be a base hit and more. It's going to be 2 bases at least for Albert. Might be thinking about 3. He will hold up at second with a stand-up double. That'll bring Zachary Drokas to the plate. Sean Nowicki is on the mound for this 7th inning as well. The freshman came in. He's had 1 appearance so far. He pitched against Southern New Hampshire, got a strikeout in that, pitched 2/3 of an inning. Didn't allow any runs. That one is chopped over to third. Rivera fires over, and nope, they're going to say it pulled him off of the bag, and then Cardona did not get the tag on him, so that should be an error on Rivera for the errant throw that pulled Cardona off the bag. And it's now 1st and 2nd for the Owls with nobody out here in the 7th. Looking to lay down a bunt was Himes, and then Albert nearly got picked off of second on the throw down there. He was able to get back safely. Looking to bunt again is Himes, but that one's off the plate, so he pulls back, and count moves even at 1-1. One bunted foul, and now they count 1-2. So the offense for the Owls has been very good in both these games. I mean, they put up 10 runs in the first. It just wasn't enough to win because Post put up 13. But in game number 2, they've put up 8. And the pitching has held in check for the first time in this 4-game set to allow the Owls to maintain this lead. As Nowicki seems to be losing his hat on every single pitch. I don't know if it quite fits him 100%. He's struggling to keep it on with every pitch that he throws. 2-2 count coming. They were still looking at a potential bunt as Vega came way over to cover first almost. And Allen's inside for ball 3-2. No, the board said 2-2. So unless that hit him, it must have been a 3-2 count. So instead, the bases are loaded for Gigello as the Owls look for more against Nowicki. Outside for a ball, 0-1. 1-0, excuse me. Outside for another ball, 2-0 the count. No one out here. Bases loaded with Owls as they currently lead 8-2 and looking to get some more here. Chop back to Nowicki on the mound. He's going to toss it home for the force out. And so the 1-2 force out keeps this at an 8-2 ball game. That one is skied into right field. Chasing after Sosa and Vega. No one's going to be able to get there. It dunks in for a hit. That was Chad Fideli with the RBI single. And it's another run for the Owls as they now lead 9-2. Now Stobley coming to the plate. Takes the pitch outside for a ball. Now that one's chopped over into the gap. It's going to be an RBI single for Stobley. And another bobble by Roberge. The runner was coming home anyway, so that'll be 2 more runs. And it looks like the way things are headed right now, the Owls are going to be snapping this 9-game win streak for Post as it's now 11-2 in the top of the 7th inning. It's still only 1 out here at Municipal Stadium. That pitch is outside for a ball, 1-0. Outside again for a ball, and the count moves to 2-0. That one locates the plate, and Nowicki's starting to work a little bit quicker now. Chopped on the ground to first. Cardona grabs it. He's going to get over just in the nick of time to get Grudadaria out. Runners advance to second and third, but there are now 2 away for Zach Drury. Drury takes the first pitch outside for a ball. 1-0. Now fouls that one off quickly as Nowicki has again picked up that pace and has been just kind of firing pitch after pitch after pitch in there on these hitters. That one's lined up the middle. That's going to be a base hit, and 2 more runs are going to score for the Owls on the RBI single by Drury. It's 13-2 as they are piling it on now here in game number 2. And the Eagles just have not been able to figure things out here as it looks like that's going to be it for Nowicki, or maybe, I can't see. Is there any, yeah, somebody's coming out of the bullpen, I believe that is Tim Mingo. So we'll double check when he comes out. But I believe Tim Mingo's out to the mound. Nowicki coming off. We'll be back. It's 13-2 Southern Connecticut. Tim Mingo on the mound, 13-2 Owls, 2 outs here in the 7th inning. Post looks like they're going to see their 9-game winning streak come to a close unless they have a big rally in their bones in the bottom half of the inning as the Owls broke things open. All it really was 2 innings of scoring. They have 11 runs in 2 innings of work. 6 runs in the 5th inning, 5 runs in the 7th inning. Those crooked numbers have been the difference maker in the overall score of this one, and they're still looking to add some more to it. That one's chopped back to Mingo on the mound, and over to first he fires. Side retired as Patrick Dillon goes down. The Eagles need 9 runs to keep this game going. Last up's coming, bottom of the 7th. Manny Contreras will be the pinch hitter here in the bottom of the 7th. And we've got a new pitcher for you. It's Keegan Daigle, who Jarrett Michaels just said that's his teammate. In the summer league? He plays summer ball with our producer here, Jarrett Michaels. So, another interesting, he's from Thomaston, Connecticut. So, another interesting tidbit of facts today for you on your Sunday afternoon while you're watching post baseball here. So Manny Contreras will try to get a rally started for Post, who trails by 9 here in their last ups in the 7th. He fouls that one off and still ahead in the count 2-1. 2-1 against Daigle. It's chopped on the ground, foul. Count pulls even. Again, like we've mentioned, the Eagles, as this pitch is high, will remain at home for 4 more games. They'll take on Wilmington on Tuesday for a doubleheader. And Saturday at home against Felician for 2. Before heading on the road to take on Felician as Contreras walks. And now that looks like it'll be another. Sean Cleary is going to pinch hit now. With no outs and a runner on. The Eagles looking to get some momentum, I would think, also going into their next game as they, even if you're losing big, it always helps if you can get some stuff across at the end of the game to carry that momentum in over into your next series or whatever you're playing. And it kind of works both ways. I've talked about it if you've heard me on other broadcasts, like with the men's lacrosse game last week. Even though Caldwell lost that game by 10, they had a goal in the final 7 or so minutes or two that you can carry that momentum into the next game. So if you're the Eagles, scraping across a few runs may not get you the win here, but it gives you a little bit of momentum going into the next series that you have, which is a quick turnaround. It's on Tuesday. It's over the plate for a strike, 1-2. One, two to Cleary, and that was just off the plate, I guess. Thought that caught the corner. Home plate umpire J.C. Fernandez saw otherwise from his point of view. We'll do it again with a 1-2 count. Swung on, fouled. Cleary was running at first. I thought that might have chopped back into play, but it did not. It's 2-2 coming. Low and in the dirt for a ball. 3-2 now. The Eagles looking to extend this game a little longer. Swung on and missed, and that will be the first out of the inning as Cleary goes down swinging. Now Dario Sosa comes to the plate. The runner on first and one out. Post trailing by 9. That pitch is outside for a ball. Popped up, got him on the hands, and going back out of play off the fence. Running out of room to grab that one was the catcher in Staubly. That one just a little outside and high for ball number 2. To Sosa. Upstairs and count now 3-1. Daigle fires, and that one is downstairs, so Sosa walks, and now there's runners on first and second with one out in the top of the lineup coming up. Never mind, they're going to have Sean Vining hit for Jesse Alfala. So we're seeing some pinch hitters here as with the game kind of being a little out of reach. Again, you never want to say never. Anything can happen. But that's what we're seeing right now is we're seeing a lot of the players who don't typically get into games play as Vining lifts that one into right field, and it's corralled in by Himes for the second out. And that'll bring Renee Vega to the plate now. With 2 gone here in the 7th, Post 1 out away from seeing their 9-game winning streak now come to a close. In their first strike 0-1. In the dirt, nice stab by Stobley to keep it in front of him, and count pulls even at 1-1. Chopped foul, and the Eagles now down to their last strike. We appreciate you joining us today for this doubleheader. We got started just around noon. We just passed the 6 o'clock hour. It's just off the plate for a ball. The count now 2-2. Daigle looks in. Gets set and fires and swung on and missed. That'll do it. Post's 9-game winning streak and 6-game winning streak against Southern Connecticut come to a close as the Eagles split the doubleheader, losing this one 13-2. 13 runs on 13 hits, no errors for the Owls. For Post, 2 runs on 5 hits, 1 error. So the Eagles will head to their next home series against Wilmington University starting on Tuesday at noon. We'll have that game for you right here as the Eagles and Owls both have identical 14-9 records now as they leave here today. Like I mentioned, Post's 9-game winning streak comes to a close. Hayden Roberge gets his 100th career hit. Isaiah Velasco with a home run in Game 2. For everybody who joined us here for this doubleheader, we thank you for joining us. It's Mike Vesey signing off from Municipal Stadium. Final score of Game 2, 13-2, Southern Connecticut State University.